Okay, I thought it would be appropriate to just start with the last slide from the last presentation. And these are some of the things that we spent a little time talking about. And you'll notice that the very last item is the International Trade Data System. That was kind of the segue into this second part of the series. These other items, again, were well covered during that first series. So if you have a moment and weren't a part of that first webinar, please feel free to not only look at the deck, but I do think there's a recording of it out there somewhere that Net'll guide you to. Okay, so a new acronym is born, and I like to say that we live in the alphabet soup of acronyms in the industry that we're in. The government is awash in them, and we've got a new one to, again, add to our repertoire, and that's ITDS. You're going to be seeing a lot about ITDS in the coming months and years as they get ready to roll it out. So part of this is to familiarize you with that new acronym. And I should point out that this slide deck will also be made available. In fact, I've already got a couple of requests ahead of today's webinar for this second deck. This is a link, an actual link to the ITDS website. It's out there primarily for other government agencies to use, but it would behoove you as a member of the trade community to also look at that website. So if you get a copy of this deck, you should be able to go right to this link where my cursor is now and click on that, and it'll take you to the ITDS website. Of course, you can also Google it or put in itds.gov as I think the address of that site. But what is ITDS? Well, it's going to be a single window or portal into and out of the federal government, the U.S. government. And for many of us, that's a good thing. This has really been on the drawing board since, I want to say, early 2000, but I think it was even conceptualized in the late 90s by a number of people in the federal government. And it's really being driven by Treasury, by the Treasury Department. There is an ITDS Board of Directors, and that's being chaired by a gentleman named Tim Scud, and he is the Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Tariff and Trade. And Tim has done a yeoman's job in getting ITDS not only moved from a concept to reality, but pulling in the other partnering government agencies that need to be a part of this endeavor. So, again, it's being driven by Treasury and CBP, and in February of this year, President Obama signed an executive order mandating that all federal agencies that regulate or otherwise have oversight on commercial trade of foreign origin must become or join the ITDS initiative. And with that executive order, he's mandated that ITDS be completed and rolled out by the end of 2016. So we've got about two and a half years left before ITDS will become a reality. And basically what it does is it mandates that all PGA, and that's another change really of acronyms. Us old codgers in the business used to call it OGA, other government agencies. It's now called PGA. It's a more politically correct term for partnering government agencies. But all, and there could be up to 40 federal agencies involved in regulating foreign trade, all agencies are now mandated to be ITDS compliant no later than December 2016. CBP's ACE system will be really the primary conduit for ITDS. So that'll be the system that they use to accept and then transfer back all of the message sets related to an international transaction. It will facilitate all necessary message sets required for global trade. So no longer will we have these disparate websites that have been set up perhaps like by Fish and Wildlife. Today, if you have something that's controlled or regulated by Fish and Wildlife, you can't send the necessary declaration or certificate through the current ACE or ABI platform that CBP maintains. You have to go to a separate FWS, Fish and Wildlife Service website, and complete the information. The big change coming, of course, is that ITDS mandates that Fish and Wildlife now come to the table and integrate that message set, certificate, or declaration into the ITDS system. So it will be, again, ACE will be the primary conduit, and then we'll gate off messages to the appropriate federal agencies within the federal government as they get that rolled out. So I threw this in there because this is a big change. This is the world that we used to live in. And I cut my teeth in this business as a customs broker, and I've walked into many brokerage offices since then that look almost like this. But more and more, this is becoming our world. We're getting into a paperless, totally paperless environment. And we've worked with a number of clients over the years who are making that leap of faith from moving from a paper-based system to a paperless system. And if you're not there yet, I can only encourage you to get there as quickly as your IT and company resources allow. But today, most of us, instead of, again, issuing paper POs, we do everything electronically. Those POs go out in an electronic or EDI format, and then through EDI we get other message sets such as the advanced ship notice, and we're now, of course, getting documents either, again, through an EDI message set, or at a bare minimum they're being scanned and digitized and then sent to us in PDF files. So we're, again, moving away from paper into this electronic environment. And the sooner that you can get your company and your global or trade compliance program into a totally electronic world, the better off you'll be.